Hi, I'm Imogen Lamport from Inside Out Style blog.
And I'm Jill Chivers from shopyourwardrobe.com.
So, today we wanted to talk a little bit about self-talk and particularly being really wary about your negative self-talk.
Yeah.
Because, and I know from experience that, we are constantly surrounded by mass media, which, I'm standing in the supermarket queue and I look down and there's the trashy magazine cover and they've got a picture of some poor celebrity who's apparently porked out this week and how terrible it is. And then on the next one is they've got too skinny and that's how terrible, like their poor bodies are being constantly maligned by this mass media. And so we're constantly fed messages of what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be very young, we're supposed to be very slim, but not too slim, but not too fat. There's this hugely fine line between one and the other, and I'm not quite sure where the perfect is. And I actually don't believe perfect exists. But it's this constant messaging, and we pick up on that. Even if we don't consume those magazines, or even we don't consume a lot of that media, it's still incredibly hard to distance ourselves from those messages that the mass media is putting out.
Yeah. And the idea that words matter is really the essential message that we're talking about in this, and using ourselves as examples and inviting you to think about your own circumstances as well. What do you say about yourself on a regular basis? And so much of our self-talk is repetitive and negative. There's been some interesting studies about how much we talk to ourselves during the day and how many of those messages are repeated and how many are negative. And it's an alarming amount of information that we've just tuned out. It's like the sound of an air conditioner we no longer hear, that we say negative things to ourselves, about ourselves. And you mentioned before when we were chatting, it's a form of abuse. And it may not always be down that end of the scale, but it's somewhere on the continuum of lacking self-kindness, when all you ever really say to yourself are things about what you are not, and not being good enough, or thin enough, or young enough, or successful enough, whatever it is, enough.
Yes, and that not enough can then leave a kind of big gaping hole in people's insides that they then think I have to fill with food or drugs or shopping or, and I think that's where probably a lot of these kind of feelings can end up. It's that I feel a hole because I'm not treating myself well. And I know you've written a lot about other ways of filling your time, but also self-care being so important, and how when you look after yourself, and it might be just I'm getting a renovation, I'm getting a new bath, and I was saying to the builder we were working out where the niche was going to be next to the bath, and I said, well, it needs to be here so I can put my glass of wine there, because when I'm lying in the bath with my self-care, having a glass of wine, I need to be able to just pop my glass there.
Sure.
But it's one of those things that we need to think about self-care, because if somebody walked up to you, Jill, and I don't know what you say to yourself, but say, you said to yourself regularly in the mirror, I'm fat, I'm getting old and wrinkly, I'm,
that kind of sums it up. We could go with that, I think.
Whatever, that sort of thing. But if I walked up to you on the street and said that and you didn't know me, you'd go, excuse me, how dare you?
Well, I think you'd escaped from somewhere. That's what I would think.
You'd go, excuse me, how dare you? Yet, we allow ourselves to say that over and over and over again. In fact, I once did a little experiment where I got a thick rubber band, and I put it on my wrist. And every time I started talking negatively to myself, I had to snap this rubber band in a slightly painful way.
Right, okay.
It was really useful because it made me so much more conscious of my self-talk. It actually reduced my negative self-talk.
Yeah.
Because if I have to do that, I chose to do it or not. You could just go, I'm not going to. But then it made me very, very aware of just how frequently those negative thoughts can creep in.
Yeah.
Particularly if, say, things aren't going well. And it's often when there's some skill we haven't quite mastered for some reason or other, and we start then on the negative self-talk, which has actually nothing to do with this, it's like I'm useless, I'm hopeless, rather than just going, I need to practice this skill more.
Yeah. And I think the thing about awareness is really important, and that really is the first step. Awareness precedes choice. Racing into a course of action without being aware of where you are is probably not going to take you where you want to go. So awareness really is the first step to start tuning in a little bit more to what do I say to myself when I'm looking in the mirror, or at just moments when I'm alone. What is the sound track? What is the narration of my life about myself? And you don't have to radically change that 180 degrees to something ludicrous, and that's
Yes.
where a lot of affirmations come undone, is people just don't believe them. They're told
Yes.
to say these affirmations
Yes.
in every day and every way, I'm getting better and better, but they don't believe them.
Yes.
But certainly you can start to make adjustments and at the very least cut out some of those awful atrocities that you
Yes.
can say to yourself.
Yeah, and the thing is that if you are going to change, you know, it's like rather than saying every day, every way, everything's fantastic, you might just go, okay, well, I need to just be a little kinder to myself.
Yeah.
And just stop yourself. You know, when you start having that thought, or, you know, and it's often in the clothing, there's so much about our bodies and ourselves and our identity that when we're getting dressed, and I think this is why this happens so much, we're standing in front of a mirror and we're putting clothes on, and then if something's a bit tight, and we just go, oh, you know, and we're very easily down this very negative path.
Yeah, without even being aware that we've stepped on it, whoosh, off
Yes.
we go. It truly is the slippery slope.
Yeah.
And before you know it, your whole day has now got the basis of some kind
I
of...
am crap.
Yes.
Because of some, and it goes from being, this thing doesn't fit quite right to I am crap.
Yes.
And I think that is where we have to be very wary. And if we're treating ourselves so badly, are we treating the other people around us badly? And that's something that can happen. It starts spilling over, negativity. And I think to try to think of myself as a quite positive person. And I'm really very aware that negativity is really toxic in all aspects of your life.
And
Now,
contagious, I think.
contagious, and there's no reason that I'm not saying going, oh my God, I'm so fabulous at everything. And I think that, you know, there's that level of building self-esteem up to a point where it's ridiculous is also, you know, you've got to be aware of our limitations. But it's also that difference between, as I'll say to my kids when they say, I can't, and I'll say, you can if you try and you practice and you work at it.
Yeah.
I can't is a very negative thing to say, and I am bad. Like, it's putting everything about me into this huge big bundle of negativity.
Yeah.
This is just, okay, that didn't work so well. What did I learn?
Yeah, absolutely. And putting a big label that's attached to everything in your life, which is I'm rubbish,
Yes.
you know, that's no way to treat yourself. And you know, starting with that self-awareness and then moving on from there, maybe we could do a video on self-care.
Yes.
And different ways that you can be self-caring, but certainly stopping the negative self-talk and being aware of how much impact words have. Words have a huge impact, and I think we have a big responsibility, first and foremost to ourselves, second of all to other people, about the words we choose to say about ourselves.
Yes, because if you don't stop the words in your head, nobody else can.
No.
So, you know, just even becoming a bit more aware of what you're saying and just going, wait a minute, just stop that.
Yeah.
You know, like, let's just cut that right dead. And I think that can really start having a great impact on your overall feeling about yourself when you stop having those constant negative thoughts about yourself as this whole.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.